We're live, I think. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. Hope you've all had a great Monday. We're back for another live and another trade show with some great free education again from the LE UK team. If you missed them yesterday, we had the lovely Mandy who showed our tie-dye designs, Jojo showed us P+ application and some lovely glitter fades, and Jessica did some super cute Easter bunny nail art. So if you missed them, you can catch up on the Light Elegance UK Instagram page, they're all saved there. Hi Jessica. Hi everyone. Happy Monday. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Connie. I'm a Light Elegance brand ambassador. I've used Light Elegance for the past 6 years now, and yeah, they've really shaped my nail career. I love their products so much. So tonight I'm going to be showing you my marble nail art techniques. Just one of many. There's so many different ways to do marble, but I'll be using the buttercreams tonight. But you can also use this technique with P+. So yeah, let's get started. Flip you around. Hi guys. So I'll just zoom in a bit, hopefully you can all see that okay. So I should have said as well, the code for the trade show today is PBJH20, 20, sorry, and that is for 20% off until midnight tonight. So if you've got any last minute bits or essentials that you wanted to pick up, trying any new products, now's the perfect time to make the most of the discount. So these are, hopefully my lighting's okay and you can all see that alright. These are the marble designs that I did earlier, so we've got a few different colour options. And yeah, let's get started. I'll talk you through what I've used on all these designs as we've got our products that we're going to be doing tonight, curing and the lamps. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them down and I'll try my best to answer them for you. So I've got my tips all prepped here. So the first one I'm going to start with putting a base down of Lady Pink Jimmy Gel. Hi Lenore. Lenore is doing a live after me tonight at 7. She's doing some lovely Scandi floral nail art, so make sure you tune into that as well. I'm excited to see her designs. So that was Lady Pink Jimmy Gel we're using as our base here. So for the marble, hopefully that's in focus. I like to leave the inhibition layer of gel from whatever base I'm using, especially if it's a hard gel marble, because that kind of acts like it's not quite as drastic as a blooming gel, but it just kind of helps everything merge together. My personal favourites to use are Extreme. Extreme gel is my favourite hard gel, so I tend to use that any colour, just depending what goes with the design best. Or Jimmy Gel leaves a really great inhibition layer for doing this technique as well. Just going to put a wee bit more on here just to even out the coverage. And we'll let that self-level a wee touch and pop it in. And we'll get started on another one while we're waiting as well. So for this one, I'm going to go in with Cappuccino Shimmer. I'd say these two, along with Precious, which I'll use in a second, they're probably my most used Jimmy Gel colours. They're just great for everyone. Everyone loves them. But I do love the sparkle in this one. It's very well loved already. I wasn't even a top up, but I was too late getting my order in. It was already sold out, so I'll hopefully catch it once it's back in stock. But yeah, my clients love this one as well. It's just got a really super fine sparkle to it. So pretty. So we'll pop that in as well. So just going back to the ones that I did earlier. So for the pink marble here, again, that was Lady Pink Jimmy Gel. And I used Just White Buttercream, Smooch Buttercream. This one's got a lovely shimmer to it. I like to kind of do a wee mix of cream colours, shimmer colours and the metallic gold and silver as well, because I find they just really set off the design. And it's nice to have a good contrast, so I always use the white, and I like to use a mix of darker and light pinks as well. So I've got Love Bug from last year's collection, lovely pink, and two more. So we've got Miss Martian. It's just slightly lighter, but also still really neon. And also used Flower Power for a wee baby pink there. So that was for that design, and I did run the silver metallic through it as well. Hopefully you can see that okay. So that was one, and that was another one. So they all do turn out quite different. It's just the nature of nail art and marble. But yeah, that's the fun of it. So I also used my Skinny Jimmy and my super shiny top coat, but we'll show you those as we go along. So that's my first two tips all cured. Move these out the road, hopefully it'll focus okay. So we'll start off with Cappuccino Shimmer. So for this one, I'm going to be using some greens. So again, like I said, I like to use a wee kind of mix of different contrasting colours and some sparkles as well. So first one we've got is Alien Invasion, again from last year's collection. A really lovely kind of like mid-tone teal. And then we've got Petty Party, which is brand new. Again, a really lovely soft shimmer through that, so that'll add a nice wee touch. And then we've got Emotionally Drained, again from last year's collection, which is a tad lighter. Hopefully that's going to focus okay. And also Jade Butterbling, which is the star of the show. This is very well loved, but it's one of my favourite colours ever. So pretty. And we're using Just White as well. So to start off, I've got my palette here. And like I said before, we're keeping this sticky. We're not going to wipe it because that will just help everything kind of merge together and blend a bit more. So for my brushes, I've got again, I like to keep my bling brushes with a wee swatch at the end, just depends on what colour scheme I'm using. So I've got my green brush here, that's the one we'll be using today. And I also have my #1 stylus, which is great. I'll show you how we use that in just a wee second. And I also have a liner brush here, so just whatever liner brush you have. So starting off with the white, I like to go lightest to darkest, just that way. We're going to be wiping our brush between each step anyway, but it just saves you potentially contaminating any of your lighter colours with a darker one. We want to avoid that if we possibly can. So I like to just take a wee bit of product and kind of lay it down on the palette, wherever you prefer really, but I like to do it in sort of a line. And you'll see why in just a second. So it doesn't have to be, there's no really rhyme or reason to it, but just kind of like that. And just wiping off your brush with your Ellie wipes in between every colour, just to avoid any contamination of your other colours. And next one we'll go in with Petty Party. This one's been really quite popular already. It's quite early for these bright colours, but my clients have been loving the spring nails. And just popping that alongside it. So this, it does seem a bit time consuming, but you can do it speedy. And when obviously we're only doing one nail just now, but when your client's doing, when you're doing a full set for your client, like if you were doing all 10 nails or even 5 nails, you would just adjust the amount of product you're using. So I'm just using a wee touch just now. That would probably do, I'd say, 3 or 4 nails, but if you're doing a full set, just adjust your amounts to whatever you think you'll need. But again, you can always add more. It's marble, it doesn't have to be exactly the same and perfect like we said. I've got Alien Invasion. I'll just pop that up here. And last one, we've got Jade. So the butter blings, if you've never used them before, this is so sparkly. I think it's not even really focusing too well. It is just absolutely packed with the finest, most sparkly glitter you've ever seen. They are amazing. And we'll pop that at the top. So once you've got all your colours down, again, just wiping off your brush so it's nice and clean. And I do like to kind of flatten it out almost, just so when we pick up the gel, we've got kind of as big a brush area as we possibly can. And again, you'll see why in a wee second. So I'm going to close that before I get it everywhere. And you're going to take your stylus, and then again, there's no really particular rhyme or reason to this, just kind of swirl it all together. So going in different directions, just whatever your heart desires. This kind of, if you want to be super precise about it, you could use Mandy's tie-dye technique. That would be a good way to get a nice wee mix of all the gels. And yeah, getting started. So I'll move that to the side. Hopefully you can all see that okay. So for picking up the gel, I like to use a sort of like scooping method. So you can go in wherever you like the kind of swirly colour combination best. So I'm going to start here, and you want to just pick it up but not really disturbing the swirling pattern that we made, so it looks sort of like that on your brush. And then just with really light pressure, because you don't want to put all this down in one area because then it's not going to cure properly. Just using a really light pressure. I like to start just at the bottom here, and you want to kind of give your brush a little shuggle and kind of angle it down as we're pulling it down the nail. So you can see as it's coming off, that swirly pattern that we made on our palette is being transferred onto the nail. So you can take your time with this, or you can go as quickly as you want. Again, it's marble, it's all abstract, that's the beauty of it. And I'm just going to pick up a bit more product with a bit more white this time, because we seem to be missing a wee bit of white. And then just doing the exact same thing here again. Oh, thank you, Ellen. Love that colour. It is, it's so nice. This is definitely like seaside vibes, holiday vibes, it's lovely. And then just same thing again, so you can see I've just picked up another wee scoop and just filling in any areas that you've missed. So there we go, that's our first one done. So if you find that there's, sorry, I'm just trying to find a place to set my brush down, here we go. There's a area of the nail that's lacking a bit of colour that you wanted. I'm just going to go back to my palette here, pick up a little bit of Jade, Butter Bling, and you can run that through with your liner brush. And if you do this uncured, again, you can do it when it's cured, but I prefer to do it still uncured because it just really helps mesh everything together. So we'll just run that through here. hopefully you can all see that okay. So it will be bumpy, but don't worry about that too much because we are going to encapsulate. But that's our first one done. Pop that into cure. And usually I would clean off my palette before each step, but we might go back to those greens. And then we're going to pick up our tip with Lady Pink and start off another wee marble. So again, just before you close your brush, just wipe it off, and I like to kind of shape it a little bit kind of in so that when you're putting the cap on, there's no risk of catching any of your brush hairs. There we go. So I've got my purple brush now, and for the next one we are going to be using Movie Under the Moonlight, which is a really lovely kind of soft lilac, really pretty. I've got Lazy Day Lavender, gorgeous, and I've also got You're in My Orbit, which is a really gorgeous dark purple, almost looks black in some lights, so that's really going to add a nice wee bit of contrast for us. We'll be using Just White as always, and then for our sparkle I've got Princess here, so this is again just the most stunning pinky lilac-y butter bling. So same technique as before, just laying those down in little lines. I'll try my best to show you here. So picking up a wee bit of product and just popping it down. You can do this any way you like, I just find it gives you a nice kind of mix if you do it and lay it down the lines. Movie Under the Moonlight. So any questions, just pop them below, guys. Tell me what you've been ordering for the discount. Again, if you missed the start, our discount code is PBJH20 for 20% off until midnight tonight. Or if you're watching this on catch up at a later date, you can use my code, which is Conni, CONNI, and that'll get you 5% off site-wide anytime. But definitely stock up today until midnight if you can, if you're needing any bits. So that was Lazy Day Lavender, and now going in with You're in My Orbit. And the gorgeous Princess. So again here I'm just wiping off my brush, and again just doing the same thing as before, kind of flattening it out so we've got as big as possible surface area for scooping up the gel. So again, going back in with our stylus and just swirling that around. Doesn't have to be perfect, you can see it's just gives us a really nice mix of all the different colours there. So again, I'm just wiping that off. So like I said before, keeping this tacky, the inhibition layer really just helps to kind of let the marble spread out a wee bit and just kind of blend into nothing, which obviously we're just doing one at a time here, so it's not getting too much of a chance. But if you were doing a set of all 10, I like to do a hand at a time, so starting off with whatever nail you please, and then we're not flash curing, I would just leave it to kind of bloom ever so slightly. Obviously you don't get a full blooming effect without the blooming gel or a base gel, but yeah, the inhibition layer kind of helps do that slightly for us. So again, just picking up a little touch of gel, being careful not to disturb that swirly pattern, so that's how it's going to look on your brush. And again, just going in with a really light pressure. You can start wherever you want. We'll do this one slightly different. And just giving it a wee shake and swirl as you're pulling it away. And that should allow the gel to just kind of flow off your brush while still keeping that lovely pattern that we've made. Like that. And you can go back over if you feel it looks too perfect or not what you wanted. You can use your brush flat as well, just to give you a wee bit more coverage. And again, going back in. So I definitely want to pick up a bit of Princess this time and a bit more white from the top. So just try and use as light of a pressure as you can, because you can see I did go in ever so slightly heavier at the bottom here, and it has deposited quite a bit of product. So if that happens, you can either go in with the sort of tip of your brush, or you can use your liner brush and just pull the product apart a little bit, because you don't want it too thick, because then you might have problems curing. So I'm just going to wipe this off. But again, don't worry too much, because the more abstract the better. And I'm just going to separate that wee dollop of product that we put and just pull that through. So there we go. You never know. And sometimes it actually makes it turn out nicer than you anticipated. Oh, thank you, Jessica. So there we go. And again, I feel I'm just missing a little bit of dark purple at the side here. So I've just picked some of that up on my liner brush. And I'm just going to swirl that through this side. Hopefully that's going to focus for us. There we go. So I think I'm quite happy with that. So like I say, you can let that sit for a while, and you can see just at the edges there, you can see it almost starting to spread out a wee bit on its own, just here. So the longer you leave that, the more it's going to expand a little bit into your base gel. But I'd say I'm quite happy with that, so we'll pop that in. So we're curing everything for 60 seconds. Like I say, I don't like to flash cure when I'm doing these kind of designs, but 60 seconds, and if you want, you can double cure, but it's always going to go back in anyway, especially if you are doing a couple of nails at a time. So I'm taking Skinny Jimmy next, which is my favourite for just a quick encapsulation. You can use any clear gel that you have or that you prefer, but Skinny Jimmy just gets the job done super speedy. So just applying a slip layer all over the nail. And taking a good dollop of product this time. And I like to just kind of gently lay that down the middle, and it will just do all the work for you. I think we might need just a wee touch more. So again, I'm just going to let that sit and self-level on its own, and our purple is ready as well. There we go. So this one's ready to be cured. Put that back in for 60 seconds, and same again. So obviously I'm doing these in a kind of set colour scheme. You can do whatever colours you like, or a wee rainbow marble there's no rules. My clients are recently loving the kind of neutral, so I like to call it a kind of caramel or mocha marble, which is really pretty, but you can use any colours you like. Also, I think gold or silver leaf goes really well with these designs as well, but you can also run your gold or silver metallic through any of your marble designs just to make it that wee bit more special, or your butter blings. So same again, just like that, self-level and do the work for us. So our green is all done. Hopefully you can all see that okay. And our purple should be ready to go now. Yep, perfect. And I think we might have time for one more. So obviously you could top coat this, so whatever top coat you prefer. I'm going to be using Super Shiny. But like I say, I'm using buttercreams for this, but you can use this exact same technique with your P+. You would just leave your base uncured or whatever colour you're putting down for your kind of base gel, and no, not leave it uncured, sorry, leave it sticky, so you've still got a nice inhibition layer, and just lay your colours down with your P+. The only thing I would say, because it is gel polish, you might have to work just ever so slightly faster. If you don't want it to run too much, but honestly that might add to the effect as well. And there we go, nice and shiny. Pop that in, and our purple should be ready as well. There we go, so all nice and smooth again. That one almost looks sort of like opally in the centre because that butter bling, do you see, it's so nice wee effect. And again, going in with Super Shiny. You could also use a matte top coat on this, that would look really cool, and just give it another wee dimension to it. Always think a matte top coat over nail art makes it look kind of almost more cartoon-like. So yeah, it'd be really cool over a marble nail art as well. And there we go, so that's our green all done. So I'm just taking my cleansing wipe and some cleanser. And there we go. So I like to kind of match the base with whatever colour you're doing. So because we were using greens, I thought the more neutral would go a bit better. And again, the purples with the pinks, but there's no rules, you can do this however you please. It's also really fun for doing sort of like galaxy nail art, so you could put down like a dark purple or a dark blue as your base and then do this over the top, and that will give you a really fun galaxy design as well. But I like the designs that leave the cuticle area nice and nude, because it just disguises that growth a wee bit more for your clients and myself, which I love. So do we have time for one more? I think we maybe do. So I'm going to just clean off my palette quickly. Are there any colours that you guys would like to see in particular, or should I just pick them myself, go wild? There we go, that's our purple all finished. So again, if you can imagine this over a dark blue base, it would look lovely as a wee galaxy design. So I'm just taking again cleanser, cleansing wipe, and there we go. Super, super shiny. So for our next one, I think I maybe will try a quick galaxy design. So I've got the blues here that I used for this wee design that I did earlier. So we used, sorry, just give you a better look at that. And then there's also this one. So I used Chick Flick and Chill, Pika Blue and Moody Blues. So I think we'll pop down You're in My Orbit as a quick base. Get a wee fresh tip. So the buttercreams, if you haven't used them before, they are a really unique texture. They're almost kind of like spongy is the best way I would describe it. So if you agitate them, it will thin out for you, but I like to use it just out the pot. But it's just personal preference. But when you're applying, you don't want to put too much pressure. You just kind of want to place your product and kind of float it, not float it down the nail, but if you've used them, I hope you understand what I mean by spongy. So I'm going to pop that into cure quickly, and we'll lay down our blues for our next marble. So again, just like to start lightest colour to darkest, just to avoid any possible contamination of our product. So I'll try and do this as quickly as I possibly can for you. So I've got Just White. Next one I'm taking is Chick Flick and Chill, which is from the new collection. It's a really gorgeous baby blue. And the coverage is amazing on this one. You know what pastels can be like sometimes, but this one, it doesn't shadow at all. Honestly, amazing. Amazing coverage. And I've got Pika Blue, which is a favourite of mine and many of my clients. I've got one client in particular, whenever she doesn't know what to get, she gets Pika Blue because she loves it so much. And some Moody Blues as well. So that was from last year's collection. A really lovely dark blue. I'm just going to run a wee touch of that next to the white just to get the maximum contrast. And I think we'll also pop some Princess in because it just is perfect for any sort of galaxy sparkle. Oh, got the wrong. Put my Princess lid on my Lazy Day Lavender. Swap them over quickly. And that's the wrong lid again. Sorry guys, I'm getting mixed up. There we go, Princess. And I think I might actually pop down a bit of Lazy Day Lavender as well, just to pull the purple a wee bit more. But you can add whatever colours you fancy. And will we pop a bit of green in there as well? Why not? We're here anyway. So I've got Jade again. And we'll just run that at the top. So again, just making sure, wiping off my brush, kind of flattening it as much as we can just to get the biggest surface area possible for picking it up. And again, just using your stylus again to give that a wee swirl around. There we go. So we've got our purple base all cured. Obviously didn't wipe my brush off well enough because you can still see the sparkles from Princess there, but honestly it's not a bad thing. It will just help add to the effect. So where do I want to pick up from? Go here. So again, just kind of scooping your brush so that you're not disturbing the marble pattern that we made. And again, just a nice light pressure going over your nail. Hopefully you can see that okay. Those colours just look amazing together. They're almost like mermaid-like as well. So you can see, oh, I've got a wee drippy bit there. Just making sure you don't disturb that too much, and then just the same again. And if you find the colours are starting to blend too much, don't be scared to just flip your brush over and kind of let it go from the side, just so you are getting all those colours in there. Hopefully you can see that okay and it's not too bright. So you can keep doing that for as long as you want until you're happy with it. Just keep playing around with it, and like I say, because we're keeping the marble uncured, you can pick up any colour that you feel is a bit lacking and just run it through, and it will just really mesh together nicely. So we're looking a little bit too blendy at the bottom, so I'm just going to pop in a bit of white, just try and pick that up from our palette and just make this area down the bottom here look a wee bit more intentional. There we go. So I'd say I'm quite happy with that, so we'll pop that in. Again, the longer you leave this, if you were doing a full set, because our inhibition layer was still there, even on top of the buttercreams, it will slightly just spread out ever so slightly at the edges. But I'm just going to pop this into cure, just for time's sake just now. Definitely need a freshy wipe here. So these wipes are great because they don't damage your brushes at all, and they don't leave any lint or anything lying around. So I'll clean these up as well. So again, I just like to shake my brush a wee bit before I pop the lid back on. Just keeps it in nice condition. And if you find you do have any colour residue left in your brushes, if you run some clear gel through it, so that can be any one you prefer, Jimmy Gel, One Step, Extreme, it will just really help clean that out for you. So for those of you who missed the start, these are some other colour combos that we've done with some different base gels. Again, I love the blue and the gold combo. Really, really nice for getting into spring and summertime. So our little galaxy nail is all done. So again, once more, just going in with Skinny Jimmy. Just a nice slip layer, and because we have done quite sort of detailed kind of nail art that's left our nail quite bumpy, I'm taking quite a big dollop of product and just running that down the centre. And we'll give that a second just to do the work for us. So it's getting there. I'm going to give it a little helping hand. Just flip it upside down quickly. So again, if you were doing this on a client, just pop their hand upside down. They'll probably know the drill by now. And there we go, it's almost there. I'm just going to pop that in because we are running out of time. So yeah, and these are a bit more neutral marbles that we've done before. So if you guys have got any questions, please feel free to pop them below, and myself or the team will do our best to answer them for you. If you have just joined us, till tonight at midnight you can get 20% off Light Elegance UK with the code PBJH20. So make the most of that if you haven't already. Lovely, and then just a quick top coat on this one. I don't know what one's my favourite. What one do you guys prefer? This one's probably a bit more seasonal for this time of year. It's still very cold here in Bonnie, Scotland. There we go. I'm popping that back in for 60 seconds in your LE dot. As always when you're waiting on one, it seems to take forever. But these are our finished designs, and I'll quickly show you this one just so we can see them all together. Flip it around the right way. There we go. So like I say, you can do this any colour you fancy. There are loads and loads of different ways to do marble. This is just my preference, how I like to do it with the buttercreams specifically, but like I say, you can use the exact same technique with P+, and it will give you very similar results. So there we have it. If you do recreate any of these, make sure and tag me. I would love to see them. But just move this light out the way. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can get 20% off until midnight tonight using code PBJH20. And if you're catching up, you can use my code Conni, CONNI, anytime to save 5% site-wide. But make sure you stay tuned for Lenore, who is up in 15 minutes with her lovely Scandi nail art designs, and you can catch up on any lives from yesterday on the LE UK page. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye!